morning, good afternoon, good evening, all over the world. Before we get started, I just want to make a note. I've had a lot of complaints that people said that they've been unsubscribed from my channel. I think Useless Tube likes to do this because sometimes I put some maybe not so flattering content out that goes against their sensibilities. So I'd like if you like this channel, you need to periodically double check to make and maybe even unsubscribe, resubscribe, and hit the bell. If you haven't been getting notifications, you should know by now that I produce something 99.9% of the time every day. And that's what some people had said. I just haven't seen any of your videos. Well, look, they're out there. The other thing you can do is just go double check my channel because I date everything and you'll be able to see the latest contents. So please, you might want to unsubscribe and subscribe again and hit the bell if you haven't been seeing my videos. I think most of the time people forget to hit the bell, and that's kind of the most important thing, so you'll see the latest videos. This video is going to be focusing on, again, growing your own food. And I've been trying to tell you that I think this is going to be the reset and food prices are going to go through the roof. And one way you can mitigate that is by growing as much food as you can possibly grow. We decided that we were going to go build a substantial garden over at my in-laws' house because they had a fantastically sunny area, but we're starting from scratch, and this video is going to show you exactly what we did to help. Now, this is year one. It's going to get better from here, but you just got to start. Like I said, I think we have minutes left. So some of the things that I'm doing are, well, it's not like I'm taking any shortcuts for health or anything, but it's just for the most healthiest garden, we needed more materials than what we had. But we will build upon this. This will still be more than adequate for, potatoes, both red and sweet potatoes and onions. And I'm going to supplement more in the other parts of the garden where I'm growing the squash, tomatoes, peppers, things like that. But right now, I just wanted to get some things in the ground, and we were successful in doing that. When people are discouraging you, you have to just continue to move forward. I'll never forget just people are saying, well, the deer are going to eat it. But you know what? We never have any deer problems in our yard. We fenced it in, and there's things you can do with like millorgonite and other stuff around the perimeter that will keep them from coming. And I'll talk about that at some other time, some of the details. But you put up a basic fence, and we can put up some pie tins and stuff for birds. There's a lot of things you can do to minimize things that are happening. But, the negative people, you just got to ignore them because for the most part, they're just clueless about what's coming, and you just got to be ahead. Remember, you're going to be the Joseph, like in the Bible. The rest of these folks, they're just minions. They're going to be lemmings going off the cliff because they just don't know any better. It's frustrating, but that's the way it is. And later, they probably won't even thank you for what you've done because they'll just think it was just a miracle the way it all happened. So anyways, get on with the show. So here is a wide open area that we've identified, and I went out there early in the morning and I put some stakes in the ground. And I'm going to say it's about 35 to 40 feet one way and about 60 feet the other way. And this is a fantastic, we're looking kind of from the one stake in the foreground to the one towards the right, that's east to west. And so it's a beautiful location. Don't really know what kind of soil is here. Don't know how many rocks we're going to run into. There's no tree stumps or anything, so it should work really well, but we won't know till we start rototilling. So I found a guy on basically a Facebook app that is kind of in between things that are happening, and he's got full equipment, and he just charges like $150 to come out and rototill people's gardens. So it's a really good opportunity for like something that is never been done to get some heavy duty equipment like that comes with a tractor to break this in just as a major time saver. and the price was pretty reasonable. And he has a bucket on the front, which I decided to go ahead and get a bunch of compost delivered, and he can then spread it across the soil and rototill that in. Huge time saver. So anyways, for the area that I've selected, which is approximately 2,500 square feet, we probably should have had a lot more compost, but we're going to start with this, and then we'll just amend it as time goes on, and it'll get better and better. So again, a lot of times just get started. You're going to be adding like some fertilizers for your potatoes, both red and sweet potatoes, and then also for onions and everything. So the soil does not have to be perfect. It's just each time you go through this process, it kind of will amend the soil and make it even better. So I'll get a lot more compost next year and spread it in when I rototill, and it'll just, again, the yields maybe not will be 100%, the first year, but each year it'll get better and better. That's the way it works.
Well, we got about a 30 by 60 plot that we're working on. So he came in here and he just did a quick rototill, and now we're putting in the compost, and then he's going to come back and rototill again. But the depth isn't exactly what I would like. We probably should have come in and used the harrows, I think it is, and kind of break down farther and then rototill. So I think over time, since he's done this part, I'll just come back with my normal rototiller and see if I can't get this in. But we need a little rain to kind of soften this up, because it is rock hard when you get down, where below where he's been rototilling. I'll probably end up terracing this a little bit. This has a little bit of slope, not too bad though. We'll have to see what the rototill looks like when it gets going here. So I got 10 yards of this compost. It's not enough for this area, but it'll get it started. I'm going to amend this with a lot of regular fertilizers. Look, if you got lots of time, you can get full organic, but like I said, I think we're down to minutes here, so I'm trying to shortcut this whole process. There's a lot of people that if you plan way ahead, you can rot some hay and roll it out. So like over all winter, the hay can rot in the ground, and worms and everything will feast on it. It actually does a really good job, but it's like you got to have time, and you also got to have hay delivered and let it sit like all season rotting. Otherwise you're going to end up with a big full of grass growing in there. But anyways, this is not a bad way. When I did my yard, we rototilled and I raked the grass out. So I don't have hardly any grass growing in mine at all. But in this case, they just rototill it in, and I didn't have time to get up here, since this guy's being paid by the hour to come rake it out. So we're going to be fighting grass throughout the whole time. A lot of it will die from being ground up in here, and we're going to be rototilling more in here. Rototilling it more, and so maybe we just won't have that much growing. But it's just, gardens are a fight anyway, so the way I did it down there, most people don't have the amount of time. So anyways, we're just about through that 10 yards. We probably needed 20 for this size, like I said.
So 10 yards of compost delivered was about $500 here.
So now he's kind of mixing in the compost and the soil together. This is a Cadillac way of doing it, kind of get things started. Use heavy equipment whenever it's available at a reasonable price. I think this guy's doing this for me probably for about 175 to 200 bucks. Look at it from the other side here. Quite a few rocks in here. It's definitely a lot fluffier after he's done it 2 more times and we put the compost in there. Lots of rocks though. Luckily they're not big ones. If you look in here you can see some. That's what's banging around inside that thing. It's kicking a few out. So usually when I come in here and start making my rows, I pitch all the rocks out so that we don't have trouble next time.
So all in one day we got this thing rototilled. We did 3 rows of potatoes, red potatoes. We did 2 rows, I think it was, of sweet potatoes, and 4 rows of onions, long day onions. We still have several more rows of onions we have to do, and then I have to come over there and plant all of the tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, green beans, peas. We're also going to be planting more watermelon and cantaloupes, as well as another whole batch of 3 sisters. We have corn, beans, and squash. So it's going to be a fairly large garden, and I can't wait to see the finished results, but it should be pretty sweet. I forgot to mention, I also banged a whole bunch of those T-posts into the ground, and I got half of the fencing temporarily installed, so I need to finish the rest of it this week.
Looks like my backyard needs a little cleaning up down here. That's a job for another day. I kind of notice that occasionally my yard starts getting, I get sick of looking at crap all over the place. And so I just start getting in a cleaning up mode. But one of the things that I was lacking in is I had built a 12 by 12 shed, and I put a bunch of stuff in there that really doesn't need to be in a fully enclosed environment. So I came up with this idea to make like a lean-to off of my shed. Let me show you what I'm working on. So here is my shed. It's a 12 by 12, and it's tall. They didn't have a restriction on height, and we had boards that were like 13 feet long that were cut from lumber on my property, or trees in my property. I just took them to a sawmill and had them cut up. But anyways, I decided to build, I got one of these dog kennels. They sell these over at Tractor Supply, and these are really good quality too. They actually had them marked down, so I said, okay, I'll pick me up one of those. But what I'm going to do is put a board up on the side of the building, up about 10 feet. And then I'll have a couple 4x4s over on this side, and I've got sheet metal, or it's really a metal roofing, that I'll put a roof over the top of this. And we're not trying to make this completely rain tight, but just keep things out of the weather and I'll probably run some boards from, you know, the side on the back that I can use fence pickets to kind of protect from that side. And then I'll probably just get a fence panel or something on this other side over here. But anyways, this is a relatively simple project. So what I'm going to do is I've got a couple pressure treated boards that I'll have for the side that faces against the building, and then the other side that faces outside. And then I'm using non-pressure treated for the supports underneath the metal roof, and I still have to get some 2x4s that span across these 2x6s. But I'm going to use these rafter brackets, I guess you call them. So I'm going to, right now I'm about ready to mark up my 2x6 pressure treated to space those across, and I got to do it on each side. And I'm just going to get a lot of this pre-work done, and then when I'll have a handyman come over to assist me while I get the board up here on the building and screw it in, and then get some posts over here on the other side to set. So anyways, it's good to get a lot of the work done before you guys get here, because it saves you time and money. So I like to do a lot of stuff myself anyways, but I just need some assistance holding a 12-foot long board up against the building. Look at my potatoes. Almost everything is sprouted. So far my blueberries are hanging in there. Fruit trees are still looking good. We are supposed to have a gully washer tomorrow. So I expect 1.5 inches of rain, which will be fantastic. I just hope it doesn't just, I hope it's like a drizzle all day. That's what I would like it to be, not a massive amount in a short amount of time. So we'll watch and see what happens.
Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell. And always, there's a simple way that you can submit contributions through PayPal or even through a P.O. box. So thank you for watching, and look for future content. I hope everybody's treating you well. I hope you're doing well. Do the best you can. God bless.